teenage alligator.
What happened here was about 3 weeks ago, the air temperature was in the 80s for about 3 or 4 days in a row. All the dormant gators woke up. Right after that event, we had a cool front. Night before last, we had another cool front. The gators did not go back dormant. They continue to stay out. All right? So here's one. I used to work for a different swamp tour company for 10 years. At the other swamp tour company, 6 alligator sightings would have been a good tour. 12 alligator sightings would have been a great tour. Had a kid on my boat here 2 days ago. He claimed he counted 40. That's ridiculous, but that'll give you an idea of this area's potential. We have an abundance.
Hi, alligators. Hi.
This is the American alligator. This is what we have here in Louisiana. In the world, there are 23 different species of crocodilians. 14 crocodiles, 6 caiman, 2 alligators, and 1 gharial. This is American alligator. That's what we have here. That's all we have here.
It looks like it's got blood on it.
Because of that cool front, these breezy, gloomy conditions we're experiencing today, they might be a little bit nervous. Here's another one. They're like,
to the left,
man, is
up
winter
there.
back? Is this over?
Oh,
is
yeah.
this spring? Is this winter? What's going on here? But there's another one.
To the left up there, I think it's
One on
head.
the right.
It's
When you can only see the alligator's head, you can guess how big it is.
Should be one right there.
If you can guess, measure the distance between eyes and nose. Whatever that measurement is in inches, you transfer that measurement into feet. So this gator, 4 inches. Between eyes and nose, it's 4 feet. Half of the length is tail. That means 2 feet his body, from his nose to his back legs, and 2 feet his tail. And that will stay consistent throughout their entire life. The largest alligator roaming the swamp, 12 feet, 6 feet to be the tail.
where?
Another one
Oh
over
my
here on the
gosh,
left, right?
Yep.
No problem.
I mean, unless that's the same alligator.
So what happens here is, once they wake up, 3 weeks ago they wake up, the first order of business, claim territory. They're starting to bully and fight one another and get in their respective territories. Then, almost immediately, they start to feed. Okay, that's where we are right now. They're claiming territories, they're starting to feed a little bit. The next thing is dates. Within a month, they're all going to start the whole courtship and breeding process. They're going to start to date.
Okay.
Now,
He's so cute.
last year, we closed down for a couple of months because of Corona, like most other businesses. Actually, let me rephrase that. Last year, we closed down for a couple of months because of Corona, like most other small businesses. Yeah, Walmart never closed. Home Depot never closed. I was there every day. But like a small business should, we shut it down. We closed down. In our absence, when we come back to work after a couple of months, a little female gator decides to make a nest right over here. You see this little mound of mud? In between all those little maple trees, the dirt, no vegetation, right up on those rotten logs?
Up there.
Yeah, that's her nest
Where?
site. What Mom did here was, she piled up
Yeah, but where is she?
leaves into a mound like that. She deposited about 20 eggs at the top of that mound. She protected the nest site. Every gator she could see, she would go there and attack it, fight it, attack it. Finally, somebody turned around and bit her in the eye. She lost her right eye. This nest site was flooded 5 times, right? We had a very busy tropical season last year. This is flooded by Laura, Marco, Sally, Beta, and Zeta. One day we pull up here, there's a raccoon digging around the nest. So it doesn't look so hot. I was rooting for her. I wanted this to happen bad. I mean, it would have been so cool for us to pull up here right now and see little baby gators less than a year old, okay? But it didn't work out. This was just too busy. Too many tour boats, too many floodings, too many raccoons, too many lost in their eyeball. She gave up. She abandoned the nest. Typically, she'd go on the interior. She'd go on the inside, do this. Find a pond, make a little wallow, raise the kids on the interior, and give them a good old head start. It's not a good location.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've run about 12,000 tours in my career. In my career? Oh my God, that's so sad. I was supposed to do things with my life, kids. This was not the plan, trust me. But I'm not complaining, I'm not complaining. Work release program, find a really good job. I'm not complaining. In 12,000 tours, y'all know how many alligator nests I've been able to show customers? 2. That's only the second one. The first nest site was a 45-minute boat ride. We drive the boat 45 minutes. I'd say, there's the nest site. Customer said, that's it? I'm like, yeah, that's it. 45-minute boat ride back. Not that impressive. But still pretty special. That would have been so cool. And look, if she'd have been successful, she would return to the same nest site again and again, year after year. So it'd be interesting to see if she tries here again this year. We'll know within a month or 2. I can identify her. She only got one eye. I see her all the time. These white birds over here on the left, those are egrets. The small one is a snowy egret. The larger one is the common egret. In Louisiana, we have all of the herons and all of the egrets that are indigenous to the United States. When the water fell out, they're working this drainage, this little slough, a little bayou that runs back through the swamp. Look at this, look at he raised his crown up.
Oh, crocodiles?
You know,
Whatever,
fluffy.
same thing.
Anyway, so they're working this drainage. Oh, that little gator's working the drainage too. See him sitting right there? So all these little...
No, there's 3. One there, one there, one there.
Into the bayou, the birds eat them, and the same thing.
I saw 4 crocodiles.
The gators eat them too.
That alligator wants
The
to eat
common
them.
egret, they hunted that bird nearly to extinction. Back in the 1800s, they wore that bird's breeding plumage as a status symbol. Men would wear these feathers in their hats, women would wear them on pins and in their hair. They paid a lot of money for that bird's feather. If you wanted people to think and know you had money, that's how you did it. You wore that bird's feather in your cap. It's breeding season right now. They can produce over 100 breeding plumes on their back. They have these real lacy feathers on their back. Sometimes they fluff them
One
up and
orange
get all
beak, 2
excited.
black beaks.
You can't even see them right now. They're
What?
laying down flat. But they almost made the bird extinct for fashion. That's the common egret. They'll eat about 10% of hatchling gators. Did I tell y'all that? Yeah, they'll eat about 10% of hatchling gators. You find the nest site, the nursery, alligator nursery, those baby gators are in big, big trouble. Yep, one on the right. Squirrel!
Yeah, see what's in trouble with
Yeah, it's a black, watch the black squirrel in the black, y'all. See him? Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
No, I see him. He's right over there.
Oh, that's cool. I rarely get to see the black squirrel. We have 3 types of squirrels here in this part of Louisiana. There's a gray squirrel, there's a fox squirrel, big red squirrel, and there's a nocturnal southern flying squirrel. The black squirrel was just a gray squirrel with a lot of melanin. That's all. Fox squirrel can be a black squirrel too, but they're bigger. They're almost twice as big as a gray squirrel, the fox squirrel. Yeah, we hardly ever see the black. I hardly ever see the black squirrel. So there you go. That was cool. This is a bayou. The waterways you're on today are bayous. The word bayou comes from a Choctaw word. It's a Native American word. It's called bayak. Bayak will translate into winding water. Bayous are natural drainage with no typical direction. These bayous should average somewhere around 4 to 10 feet deep. This is brackish water. This is salty water. This bayou will flow into Lake Maurepas behind us, and it will flow into Lake Pontchartrain up ahead of us. So this water has a bit of salinity. Not very much, only 0.6%. Full strength seawater, 3.5% salt content. So sometimes you may see hardy saltwater fish. You might see pogies, you might see mullets. Some tours you see a bunch of blue crabs swimming around here in the bayou. But most of the fish you'll see are people would pursue from this bayou system are going to be freshwater fish. Fish like largemouth bass, bluegill sunfish, freshwater catfish, and garfish, because this is almost freshwater. What is the loneliest bayou in the swamp called? Bayou Self. Yes, this is Bayou Self. We're going to go on to Lonely Bayou. Then we'll go on to the Lonesome Bayou. So I think it was a single guy who named all these bayous. Gator on the left, no problem. I told you there's a bunch. All right, as we make this turn, we're going to go on to Lonely Bayou. We'll leave Bayou Self behind. People ask me, what are we going to see on the tour today? I tell the people, you'll see water, you'll see trees, and you'll see raccoons.
That's 5.
So if you look on the bank up here ahead of us, you can see a raccoon.
7.
Another one straight ahead.
Raccoons are nocturnal animals, but we feed them. They know what time tours run, so they come out.
I think that's one. I'm not.
If we didn't feed them, you'd never see them.
There is.
The Germans and the Dutch and the Swiss, they call a raccoon washbear, or they say washbear. And washbear translates into washbear. My German's pretty strong. They wet their food and helps in the swallow. They have a limited salivary system. They don't wash anything.
Look at that box. Fox. No,
The
that's
raccoon is the only animal we
You see that thing jump up?
What was that?
Fish, I think.
Oh.
See the
Retail
raccoon?
value
I thought that
of a
was a
raccoon
box
pelt
biscuit.
is about $30. Unless you shop at Cabela's. At Cabela's, they are
There's another one right
$99.99.
there.
But that's George.
But what are they talking about?
That's George Cooney. Ah!
Can't see it.
George Cooney? Anyway.
I thought I've seen 3. 12 and 3.
Yes, yes. Alligators eat raccoons. It happened 4 days ago, right here. We had 11 raccoons in this group. Now probably got about 10. We pull up here on tour. There's an alligator swimming out of a raccoon in his mouth. This lady on the boat said, I was not prepared to see that. I am mentally disturbed.
No, 11.
I want my money back.
No,
I told that lady, I said, Hakuna Matata.
No, 11.
I said, stand on top of that seat. Get a full refund up there. Y'all know they still looking for that lady?
2 in there.
Yeah, out of here.
Raccoons?
Mother-in-law special.
Oh, yeah. We already saw that.
What? No, it's cool. Listen, mother-in-law special, very expensive upgrade, very expensive, but people never complain about the price.
Dad, don't you think they're
They
cute?
are.
They look like kitties. Dad, don't you at least think cats are cute?
They get a blind in the eye? Is that mama?
Was Luna cute?
Yeah, that's her. You're right here in front of us.
Was
That's the
Luna
mama.
cute? Hey, Mama! Oh,
She's blind in the right eye.
Was Mother cute?
Now listen, everything I've ever read, everything I've ever assumed about a mature-sized alligator suggests it's larger than mama. But she's the one that did it. She built the nest, she protected the nest, right? I'm assuming she laid eggs. I didn't go dig in the nest to check it. But that's her.
Who? Where?
You want the one eye?
Where? I don't
One of those gators has one eye. There's like 3 of them right there.
Wait, that one's
So this is the Lonely Bayou. Look down the bayou. Look down the bayou behind us.
Lonely Bayou
You
has
can
a lot
notice
of
how straight it is.
Not so lonely. I thought
They took the naturally occurring bayou that used to be here and they dredged it straight.
that one right there.
They did this during the
her?
logging process. It was a way for the loggers to float around Cypress timber and supplies. It connects the Highway 51 in front of us to the railroad tracks.
Is that her?
Oh,
Or is that her? Or is that her?
Yes.
Oh. Or is that her?
We're gonna come back to it.
That would be 13.
We're gonna go down here and look for some larger gators and try to feed some gators here too, y'all. Yeah. Yeah, look, this is a no-brainer, right? You heard what he said. He said, these gators over here look hungry. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, they're approaching us. They come up to the boat. I mean, we've been running swamp tours in this bayou system for over 30 years. They know what a swamp tour boat is. They can hear the engine. They can see the roof of the boat. They can see all the people. They can smell the Yankee meat. They can smell the international flavor, and they love that. The gators think customers are going to taste like chicken. Yeah, it's true. Up, up! Come attack us! Come on, buddy. Y'all see this big tree up here on the right-hand bank? The biggest one growing right out of the bayou? That's the bald cypress tree. That's the Louisiana state tree. It's the largest type of tree we'll see on the tour today, and it's the best suited for life in this environment. Bald cypress wood resists termites and rot naturally. That's the wood to use long before people chemically treated wood. It was such a valuable wood, they logged out the entire United States. There are no more stands of old growth cypress forest left. They've already cut them all down. But they did leave us a few big trees. They left big ones like this along the banks to tie up boats, barges, and anchor winches. They also left us a lot of these undesirable cypress trees. They say for every foot in diameter a bald cypress tree is, it will be approximately 100 years old. So this tree, it's like a 400-year-old tree. That's what the loggers are after. Trees that were 200 to 1,000 years old. The red swamp maple. These little white flowers over here, on the right,
alligator.
that's the dewberry.
Swim.
Spring is upon us. And y'all know what that means, right? Crawfish
Are you
season.
getting the alligator?
Yes.
Zoom
My
out.
favorite season. Y'all eat boiled crawfish?
Yes.
Oh, they're the best. I've already had crawfish 3 times this year. I love them. I love to build crawfish traps. I love to catch crawfish. I love to cook crawfish. I love to eat crawfish. Boiled crawfish is my favorite traditional dish. I love crawfish. You gotta try some. It's early season, they're kind of expensive, but it's worth it.
Another one.
If we're ever lucky enough to see the honey bun, he likes to hang out on this little
I think.
bayou over here on the left.
Yeah. No, that's a log.
Favorite
Dang it.
spot.
Just one.
Now, the deal is with these big males, and
I mean, unless
look,
that is a
the
crocodile.
big gators are
And not a
almost all.
log.
If you see a gator larger than 9 to 10 feet in length, it's almost always going to be a male. Females typically do not get that big. So they go dormant. They wake up. They're not as concerned with feeding as some of these other gators. They're more interested in dating. They can have 2 square miles of territory. Within their territory, you can have as many as 30 girlfriends. So it takes them a month or 2 to date all those girls. For the bigger ones, these don't show up right away. It takes them a minute. But look, you can look down the bayou. That's a decent-sized gator sitting in the middle of the bayou down there. You see that big head sticking out in the middle? That's got to be who we're looking for. That's exactly where T-Brud's supposed to be. That's his spot. That's his point. Right there. That's got to be him. Measure the distance from eyes to nose, inches to feet. He's 10, 11 inches from eyes to nose. He is 10 to 11 feet. Now look, when he comes up to feed, pay attention. He got into a nasty fight a couple years ago. He got bit on the face. He got a puncture wound on his lip. Well, you just see the black scar on his lip. He got his teeth ripped out. His bottom teeth, he's missing a bunch of front bottom teeth. So when he opens his mouth, he don't have a whole lot of teeth in the front at the bottom. So you can see that too. He might have some leeches on his cheek. He's been laying back in the shallow water of the swamp, and he came out with a bunch of leeches. Oh, he went. Oh no, he's still out. Up! Come on! Come attack us! Come on! Kind of looks uncooperative. And look, I know what y'all are probably thinking. An uncooperative gator? Probably gonna be a female. But, I don't want y'all to confuse that with a male gator that might have a fear of commitment. You see? It takes a professional to tell us the difference. I'm not a professional.
Oh, you moved.
I can't tell the difference.
Oh, look
He's
at him.
moving.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I just make most of this stuff up. Here he goes.
It might be right where you are.
That's fine.
You don't have to move.
Scoot over, scoot over.
Up! Come on, hurry. Watch for his teeth. Don't let go. Watch his scar, he's got a clear slip. Hey, you want the bone? Here's the bone. See the black scar?
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy. He's such a good boy. Oh, that's a good piece.
I can see the bottom teeth.
Up! Come on. Oh, down the hatch.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
Come on, buddy.
Oh, look at the little one. Look at the baby.
Come on.
Is it meal?
Chicken.
Oh, it is. Oh, it lost it. Don't give it to the baby alligator, then that will big old boy.
Good sized piece of chicken.
Here's some tenders. Look at the fish. Look at the garfish, y'all.
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Watch the fish. They're coming to get the chicken. See them? Watch these fish. I'll see if I can feed them. Oh, there's one. See him? Look, he's swimming on the alligator's back. Look.
Oh, it's so cute. Oh, look at the little baby one. Oh, did you see it? Look at that.
I don't know where they went. I think they're with the gators, the garfish. Oh, there he is. Watch. I'm gonna let him eat it. Look. Up! Come on! Come attack!
There's three. I mean, the big one and then this one. It looks like that one's older than that one.
Oh no, we're surrounded.
We missed it. Oh, poor alligator. Oh, my. We got a lot. He's so cute.
Oh, he's getting aggravated now. Y'all see his teeth? Look at his teeth. Missing a bunch of teeth at the bottom. He's getting a few back though. Took him a couple years. Oh, he fumbled! Somebody grab that chicken. I'm on a budget. believe that chicken. Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hi, kitty kitties. Look at all those kitty patooties. Look at those kitty patooties.
You have to let the cats
I
go.
think I'm kitty patooties. They're so cute. They're so cute.
What else? We cool? Y'all okay with this? We're gonna ease on. That's a T-Bride. Very cooperative. Once the honey bun shows up, T-Bride will disappear. The honey bun's a big bully. That's probably the one that ripped all his teeth out. Last time I saw the honey bun, he was sleeping underneath the interstate. So I think he kind of fell on some hard times. I got a GoFundMe account set up for him, see if we can get him back on tour again, you know. Get him a little RV, someplace nice to sleep in, you know. Poor honey bun. He said he's swimming that back up. That's intentional. They do that for two reasons. To communicate. Look at my back, look at my tail. That's how big I am. They do that because I'm a regulate. The bumps in the back are called scoots. They have 144 scoots. The scoot is formed by a hard bony plate called an osteoderm. The osteoderm have channels, blood vessels run through those channels. So by doing this, they can warm up the skin, warm up the osteoderm, and warm up the blood. I was walking around the swamp about a year or so ago. We found a big dead alligator, about the size of a T-Bride. We got a scoop. This is the next scoop off a large alligator like this. And I'll pass this around. You could look at old Leonardo DiCaprio on a swamp tour. A private swamp tour, of course. Do you know what Leonardo did while he was on tour? King of the world, he stood on the bow, going through the bayou, king of the world. Listen, I was not a fan until I saw that maneuver. Then I was a big fan. I was like, that's awesome. He gained a lot of points in my book with that move. I was like, he should have to do that on every boat from here on out. How crazy is that? I swear, I saw it. Going through the bayou, doing king of the world. I was like, that's awesome. Old Leonardo. What else?
That's recording the story.
What?
So you won't do that for something?
No. It'd be a different film.
Look at it.
She liked to practice the voodoo. And because she practiced voodoo, the people in town were very afraid of her. They did not like her. Since they did not like her, she did not like them. It was mutual. She had vowed when she died, she would take the whole town of Finnear with her. It happened. She died. September 28th, 1915. On the night of her burial, the town of Finnear gets hit by a Category 3 hurricane. A Category 3 hurricane will produce winds of 125 miles an hour. Storm surge here was 10 feet. It's not 10 feet of land. A lot of people died. Out of the 400 residents, only about 40 people survived. The survivors got up to the railroad tracks. They got in overturned boxcars.
Where?
The survivors did not have tools, manpower, and materials necessary to give all these people a proper burial.
Maybe not that big.
What they did was find some high ground, like a ridge, dig a big hole, set up one common grave site. Up ahead of us, along the left-hand bank of one of these grave sites, they've estimated to be about 50 bodies buried along that ridge. Now, because of the voodoo, because of the mass grave sites, because of all this spiritual unrest, the Manchac Swamp is supposed to be the most haunted swamp in the United States. So they filmed here recently because of this. They filmed several of those ghost hunting shows. One show called Haunted Towns, another show called Haunted Highways. Both of these shows had confirmed sightings. They saw a ghost. One of the shows even spoke with the ghost. They did a witchcraft show here. They performed witchcraft and voodoo rituals. They filmed that for about 8 hours one day. We filmed here for 3 nights with the National Geographic Channel for a show called Atlas of the Cursed.
Oh, is that right?
Julia Brown owned all this property.
1950.
She owned a very important piece of property. You see, she was an entrepreneur. She owned a road. If you look through the swamp, you see that ridge? That's a road. That road connects the canal we're on right now to Fournier Road. Fournier Road is the road right outside of our parking lot. They could bring out Cypress timber, haul out the logs, and bring in supplies. Now, if you look
There's probably
along
a lot
this
more.
ridge,
I see, like,
on
actually
the ground,
mine.
you'll notice all these little white specks. Can you see those little white specks? Well, just pretend like you can. That's this. It's a Rangia clam shell. These clam shells are what we used to use to build the base of roads, neighborhoods, and homes. The neighborhood I grew up in as a kid was built on clam shells. We used to dredge Lake Pontchartrain until the mid-1980s for these clam shells. They quit dredging for environmental concerns. The neighborhood I grew up in, right, built on Rangia clam shells. Very important animal. The very underrated animal. Native Americans, if they got hungry, right, they could always paddle their canoe 3 miles down the bayou, right ahead of us. Get out into Lake Pontchartrain and collect these clams. They crack them open, eat the meat, right? When they got tired of eating clam meat, they used the meat for bait, catch crabs and crawfish and fish and other animals. More importantly than any of that, this provided hard substrate. There are no rocks here. None. Zero. If you found a rock in a swamp, somebody brought it. It's that simple. This land is only about 3,000 years old. That's way too modern, way too new to find rocks. Rocks aren't formed in that amount of time. So this provided local hard substrate for tools, to make a knife, a scraper, fashion, some other sort of tool. If you found a rock here, somebody brought it. The Voiles, Native Americans, northwestern Louisiana, they were called the stone traders. They'd go out west, get flint, break it down to a packable size, bring it back to Louisiana, trade with other Native American tribes. That's how they made a living. Julia Brown, they did not want her buried with their friends and family back there. So they buried her back here by herself. As you look into the swamp, you can see Julia Brown's grave site.
Is that her grave?
On this grave site, the flowers never die. On the full moon, Julia Brown can be heard chanting. Chanting chants of the impending doom. That's Julia Brown's final resting place. Oh no. Oh no. I think I just got voodoo. Or corona. I can't tell them. I can't tell them. Y'all do voodoo? Oh, it's good times. Y'all have to try it. Get your career started in voodoo. I'll find a good job here. We're always looking for good practitioners. You can start tonight.
What does that sign say? What? Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't say no trespassing. It did look like it did. What? So I can't blame you for thinking it was.
I do see that. This is the smallest size alligator you're going to get to see on tour. I guarantee it. It's tiny. So look at this patch of floating vegetation right now.